Hi, today I want to talk to you about one of our families, and it's the Beckstead family. They are an interesting family. The first one that we know of is John Beckstead, and he was born in Saxony, Germany, and then came to the United States. They then went to Canada about 1800. Not too long after the Revolutionary War. Is that good?
It'll be fine. Gives it personality.
They had three Mormon missionaries come to Canada in about 1838, 1837 maybe, and taught to the Beckstead family, and two of the sons, Alexander and Francis, listened to the missionaries and joined the church. Francis is our ancestor, but Alexander plays a big part with our Francis. In 1838, they started down to the United States into Missouri, Alexander and his family, and Francis and his family. His first wife had died, who was the mother of our ancestor, but he had remarried. And they went to Missouri, and they were there right at the time that they were being driven from county to county. It was a very terrible time. If you read Work and Glory, it tells about those saints coming from Canada and how destitute they were. And the members of the church, who were also destitute, shared everything they had with the Canadian saints that came. Our Francis was part of that group. He had a son, Francis, and that becomes our line. They were there when they were driven from county to county and ended up in that terrible winter at Far West, where they had to live in their wagons and the mobs were firing on them and the extermination order had been given. And they tell about the experiences that they had, how they couldn't even go and get water in the stream because when they went out to get water, the mob would fire on them. We can't even comprehend what they went through that terrible winter. But they also then went with the saints into Nauvoo when they drained and made Nauvoo. And they lived there in Nauvoo, but in 1841, Francis, the oldest, Francis Sr., died. And probably they say that from the effects of Far West. But Francis Jr. had married a cousin, Mary Beckstead, and they had begun to have their children. And they were driven out of Nauvoo in 1846 and started across Iowa into winter quarters when Francis Jr. got cholera and died in 1846, right outside of Nebraska. His wife, Mary, says, "I've had enough." And she decided to stay in Nebraska. I got to, okay.